on. So it is good to see you. I'm glad that we're hanging out. Hello, hello, Misfit Diamonds. Let me know where you're checking in from. Goddess, woman of Thayer. Sorry, I know I pronounced that wrong. Woman of the year. What's happening? Sorry about that. See, sometimes you try to, you're trying to break up the names and whatnot, and it doesn't always go over smooth. But it's good to see you. Thanks for being here. We are going to talk about the description of a desirable woman tonight. So this should be, I think it's going to be a great conversation. But listen, I turned on the video to have this talk, so I hope I would think that at least it's going to be a good conversation. But I definitely think it'll be encouragement to you, something to build you up, something to get you thinking about, something to, encourage you to aspire for. And as we do, help us to live intentional lives. And so this, I believe, will be beneficial for all men, women. I think we'll all benefit from it. So let's jump into tonight and let's talk about this desirable woman. So in the basis of this comes from what I've been doing all month, and I share with you all what I do every day, which is read a particular proverb. So I read a proverb a day that just correlates to the date of the month. So there are 31 proverbs, and as you go through, January has 31 days. So today I read Proverbs 31, and many people know Proverbs 31 to be about the virtuous woman, right? And so when you look at Proverbs 31, then you see this description of a woman that is called a virtuous woman. And with that, there are some things about this virtuous woman that I think are very appealing. And I think that we can all be enhanced. All of our lives can be enhanced by looking at the description of this particular woman. And so one of the things I find interesting as I was doing my studies and I'm looking at the words, and I like to do word studies and look into the original language in which the Bible was written, which is Greek and Hebrew. So I like to look up those words, and I have on my phone, I have a particular app that when I'm doing my Bible study, I can look up and see the original words. And that word virtuous, while we think about it as being oftentimes being really soft and perhaps kind of laid back and just like picture of beauty and all this stuff, that word virtuous, as I looked up the word today, it had a lot of references to like an army and the strength and to valor and to things that seem really more aggressive than passive, which it's not what you normally think, right? Who can find a virtuous woman? You think, oh, she's a woman that's not just out, living loose and promiscuous. That's not what it really says. In that word, it talks about this strength and this valor and this, and there's a picture of even an army. And so when we're thinking about a virtuous woman, there is some strength that we really need to consider. And so for me, when we talk about the image, like the images that we have about relationships, I think it's important that we have a sound and healthy image, right? So I'm going to share a few of the words that describe this virtuous woman. And maybe you've heard them, maybe you haven't, but it's important that you hear at least some of it. I would encourage you, if you haven't read it, to just read Proverbs 31. You might not be a Bible person or anything like that. I get it. But you're not going to go up in flames just by reading it. So it's all good. Just give it a read. So I'm going to pick it up kind of in the middle where it starts talking about this virtuous woman. And here's what it says. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She rises also while it is yet night, and giveth her meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands she plants a vineyard. She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good. You know what? I might as well just read the whole thing if you don't mind. She perceives that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. She layeth her hand to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff. She stretches out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet. She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land. She maketh fine linen and sells it, and delivers girdles unto the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She looketh well to the ways of her household. She eateth not the bread of idleness. Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all. Favor is deceitful, beauty is vain, but a woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her of the fruits of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So this woman, like this description, that's pretty fantastic. This woman gets it in. She is like an image of what I would say is a desirable woman. Now, for me, let me just give you a little background. When we talk about relationships, and it's like, okay, what kind of person do you want to be in relationship with? And for me, I'm like, let me just go to the Bible. Let me see what the Bible says about, someone that I would be in a relationship with, because I would think it's a pretty solid description. So I look at that. And so one day I was doing my studies, and I'm reading about this woman in Proverbs 31. And what I found was it causes me to think differently as a man. I was like, this is cool. I could pray like, Lord, let me find a virtuous woman whose price is far above rubies, who is a person that my heart could safely trust in her, right? But then I started thinking this way. I was like, if this woman is like this, then my prayer is going to be, I need to be a virtuous man that is worthy of being with this woman. So, like, Lord, help me to be a virtuous man who can pay the price for what it takes to be with a woman whose price is far above rubies. If her price is far above rubies, I need to be a man that can pay the price far above rubies, right? Makes sense. So when we're thinking about our relationships and what we desire, one of the things that I think is amazing is that whatever we desire in life, whatever our dreams are, our hopes are, our aspirations, what our desires are, our desires should cause us to go to a higher level, right? Because if our desire is the standard, we should always be looking to exceed the standard. Because if we only meet the standard, that means it's a 10-foot wall, we climb 10 feet. We are not getting above the standard. Mm-mm. See, no, we want to go exceedingly and abundantly above what the standard is. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm praying this prayer. I'm like, no, if her price is far above rubies, Lord, show me how to be a man that can offer value far above rubies. I need to be able to offer that kind of value. Like, let the heart of her husband to safely trust in her. Okay, so if my heart is going to be able to safely trust in her, let me then prepare my heart to be such that I am able to give it, because she's preparing to be a safe place. Well, let me be healed and whole and healthy enough so that I can give my heart without being all terrified and petrified and worried and scared. And what happened in the past, and no way can I give myself. No, I need to be healed. I need to be whole. I need to be ready to serve. And while my heart safely trusts in her, let me be a place where her heart can safely trust in me. See, when we have an image of our relationship, when we create that we talk about having an idea of what it looks like, but then we have an idea of our relationship, but then we start looking at the image of the person. What are we really talking about? See, I think, and I recommend, and I suggest, and I teach from this standpoint. Anybody can go through this and just be like, you know what? Any woman could go through this and pray, let me be a virtuous woman whose price is far above rubies. Let me be the one that he can safely trust in. so that he have no need for spoil. I will do him good and not evil all the days of my life. I will seek wool and flax. I will work willingly with my hands. See, somebody, you can pray that prayer. You can just go, you don't got to make it up. See, here's the kicker. You can go right through Proverbs and pray it for yourself. And here's the deal. When you do that, you already know that you're praying in alignment with God's will. And so that makes it easy. Like, look, sometimes I think we like overcomplicate this thing. Like, what should I pray? Just crack open the Bible and pray what it says. Because if you pray to be in alignment with it, then God's like, well, I gotta bless you. I gotta help you with that because you're praying exactly what I want for you. So if you want to be this person, no doubt, I'm going to help you. Now, is it going to be easy? No, not necessarily. But will it be worth it? Absolutely. Because who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be that place where their partner their heart can safely dwell in that place? Who doesn't want to be a person who's working with their hands and prospering? Like, this is a no-brainer. And so as I was going through that from the male perspective, I'm looking and I'm seeing, okay, she's this standard. I'm praying this for her. So if I'm going to pray this for her, if this is the image that I have for her, then it automatically calls me to another level. So I need to be this guy. I need to be a guy that is worthy of being with this person. So now what does that do for me? That needs to cause me to go to a higher level. That needs to cause me to work differently, to be more mindful, to tenderize my life, to tenderize my heart, to make sure that I am working just as diligently and just with as much focus as I want from this person. See, all of this stuff goes together. We are not meant to be just one-sided and somebody's carrying the full load and then the other person is like just kind of like just lazy or whatever. No, that's not. No, that's what, like if you're farming and if you're plowing the field and you have, let's say, two animals, there's this thing that connects the two animals. You might have seen it connects them with their neck. It's called a yoke, right? And so the yoke goes over these two animals. And when the animals are plowing, when both, let's just say there are two oxen and they're both plowing together and they're equally as strong, they're going to plow in a straight line. But if you are unequally yoked, meaning let's say there's an oxen and then there's, like a small donkey or something. Well, that jackass is not going to be driving at the same rate as the ox. And so now that what would have been a straight path is now off because you're unequally yoked. And so when we are unequally yoked in relationships, there's going to be some kind of issue because somebody is going to be working a lot harder than somebody else. And people will say, it's like 50-50. No, it's not. 50, if you're giving 50% of yourself, well, where's the other 50% going? Well, no, we don't want a 50-50 relationship. You get 50, I'll get 50. And I'm just going to leave my other 50 over here. No, don't do that. You might as well just go in 100. You're like, I'm all in. I'm 100, you 100. Let's just go 100 because if we're both at 100, then we're both operating at our highest levels. And when I'm not operating at my highest level, I want you to call me on that. I want you to point out, babe, listen, you look a little worn out. You look like you're not taking care of yourself. Your energy level is down. You might need some rest, or you've been resting too much. You might need to get into action. I need to see your 100. This isn't the best of you. What do we need to do to bring out the best of you? See, that's what we really need in relationships. We need to understand when our person is not operating at their best. I shared with you last week how it talked about in the Bible where a shepherd, if he had 100 sheep, would leave the 99 in order to go get the one. Now, if we think about that, we might be like, okay, sheep, and what does that have to do with someone's energy level and the best of themselves? Think about it. If your person is operating, they have 100% capability, but if they're only operating at 99, you are missing out and they are missing out on the best of themselves. We need to go find that 1%. What's happening so that 1% is being depleted? What's going on? How can we replenish that 1% so you can be whole? not lacking at all, because we're not doing lack. That's not what we do. We are here to prosper. We are here to do life and life more abundantly. That means we want to operate at such a level that we are producing at our very best. And yeah, we'll take a hit, but we need to get that thing back up as soon as we can. We are not designed to live in a lesser than mode. And if we can become okay with 99, I'm just going to do my 99. Then pretty soon your 98, your 99 becomes 97, and then 84. And we're starting to get more and more casual, and we are going down. We don't want that. So when we have this image and we have this view, whenever I see something, like I could be reading, right, and studying my Bible or whatever, and I'll see something that's good, and I'm like, I want that. Let me figure out how to get into that. We talked about when the servant went and prayed for Rebecca. He said, Lord, prosper my way, that I can find this girl that's going to offer me something to drink and then water the camels. Right? We talked about that. He was like, I'm praying for prosperity. I'm praying for this relationship partner that I'm looking for to be the right one. I'm not doing this accidental, just, any old kind of, I'll just take anybody. No. So we don't have to do that. We don't have to live in that space. And so when we look in our image and we think about the image that we have for ourselves and for the person that we desire to be in relationship with, this does not need to be an accidental process. We don't need to just leave it to chance. And I know somebody's probably going to be negative in your life and tell you it does not take all that. They'll tell you, you're just asking for too much. Your standards are just too high. You're high maintenance, right? It's always people want to complain when we go high. Oh, you're high maintenance. You have such high standards. You have such high hopes. Now, who told somebody they needed to be the negativity police in your life? So what? You have high hopes. Great. You have high standards. Excellent. You're high maintenance. Wonderful. I think things that we enjoy, things that we love, things that we desire to keep, we should highly maintain. Makes sense, right? When did high maintenance become an issue? Now, I said, like, you're highly jacked up. Now, that's something different. You're highly broken. You're highly malfunctioning. That's different than being highly maintained. I would dare say that God highly maintains us. He was like, listen, I'm going to give you all this stuff. I'm going to give you the earth. I'm going to give you the sun, the moon, the stars, galaxies, flowers, rivers, streams, mountains, animals. I'm giving you grass. I'm giving you all this stuff, right? Because I am highly maintaining you. That's not an insult to be high maintenance. You are worthy to be highly maintained because you are highly valuable with a highly valued treasure within you. You should be highly maintained. Like, don't let anybody steal from you with their words. You don't got to buy into what they're talking about when they're trying to discredit, and discourage you from having high standards and wanting more. See, that's the problem. The problem that we have a lot of times in life is that we know that there is more than what we are currently having and experiencing. And that's where our greatest frustrations come in, because there is this conflict on the inside. I know there is more than this, and yet I am not where I desire to be. There's something more, and yet I don't have it right now. So there's this conflict, and that conflict is presented through this thing called process. The conflict is in growth. See, that's what the conflict is. It's the conflict of dreams. It's the conflict of vision. It's the conflict of something greater. Something greater is always going to demand and place you in a position of conflict. But the great thing about it is we get to choose that. We get to choose. You get to choose to say, I desire something greater, and I'm going to work for that. Meaning, I now am introducing conflict into my life on purpose so that I can have something greater. Like, go through Proverbs 31 and just like take your time, go through and look through what is said, how this woman operates. And then measure yourself and say, okay, do I really want that? Am I willing to pay the price for that? And what does that look like for me? What does it look like if I am going to, prepare for a household? She wasn't like a woman of lack. No, no, no. She had abundance. And so in having abundance, ask yourself, am I really ready for abundance? Can I really handle abundance? Am I where I am right now because this is all I can really handle? Have I prepared for something greater? When you start really thinking about it, you'll probably come up with some answers that can help you shift your life. Perhaps the relationships that you've had in the past have been based upon a perception and an idea and an image that really didn't align with the dream that you have. Perhaps you bought into some narrative and some language and some conversations that made you think yourself lesser, so you operated in a lesser way because you really weren't convinced of your own value. And because you weren't convinced of your own value, you put yourself in situations with people that really didn't have your best interest at heart. And you went along to get along. You stayed too long. You allowed some things to happen that you knew really weren't that great, certainly weren't good for you. You did some things that you didn't feel good about. You felt dishonored. You felt disrespected, right? That's sometimes we do those things. When we have a flawed image of ourselves, then we will live to our lower image. But conversely, when you make that shift, you'll live up to a new standard. You can do that too. You are not like forever assigned to a low standard just because you once had it. And so tonight's conversation is my attempt to share with you a bit of life that would call you higher, that would say, look, there is more for you. There are greater opportunities for you. When you do that thing that you've been dreaming about doing, life is going to change for you. When you step out of that place of being afraid of launching your life will really launch. See, the thing about we say words, but I don't think we don't always slow down enough to really hear them. If you really want to launch in life, you're talking about a different experience. See, planes, when we get into a plane will take off and a plane will fly. We don't talk about planes launching. We don't launch a plane. No, that's not what we do. Rockets launch. And you think about the design of a rocket versus a plane. A plane is going to take off and it is going to travel kind of flat across. But when you launch your life, your love, you are talking about having rocket fuel and rocket boosters and all this stuff. And you are pointed in a direction that is up. You're like, I'm going up. I'm not simply going to just take off and then level out. I'm launching, I'm going straight up. And what happens is when we launch, we take off. But when a rocket launches, what happens is it starts to launch and a space shuttle, it launches. And then before long, we see like the boosters start falling off because we know we are going to another level. And everything that was once there when we were taking off doesn't get to go with us on the whole journey. So see, when you launch, you got to know there are some people, there are some ideas, there are some thoughts, there are some behaviors, there are some things, there are some fears, there are some apprehensions, there are some things that we have to let go. So we're going to use it. We're going to use it for our good. All things are working together for your good. And then so you're going to launch, but then you got to let that stuff go. You got to launch and let go. Got to launch and let go. Let go of some ideas. Let go of those thoughts. Let go of the past. Shift your focus to where you are going. And you're sitting and you're focused and you're looking. There's no like rearview mirror in a rocket, in a shuttle, right? They're not like looking over their shoulder. They know they're going one direction. We're going up. And when we go up, we're going to go up at an accelerated pace into different atmospheres. It's going to require something totally different. Like when we get on airplanes, we don't have to go through some kind of like rigorous training in order to fly on a plane. But those people that launch in the shuttle, they go through something different. They train differently. This is why I say certain things. Like I talk about being marriage minded, okay, on purpose, right? I'm not having a boyfriend conversation with you. I'm not having a girlfriend conversation with you. No, I'm just not. That's not calling you to the next level. Like if you're just going to, have boyfriends or girlfriends and like easy come, easy go, okay, you don't really need me for that. Like there's no, you don't need me for that. But when we're saying, look, I'm going to live and I'm going to have a marriage-minded approach to my living, meaning I'm not just giving myself to everybody. No, I'm locked in. I'm really playing for an audience of one, whether or not I see that person in my face right now or not. I know where I'm going. I know what I desire. So I'm not going to cheapen my experience by just letting everybody handle me. No, I'm not doing that. Doesn't mean you're getting married tomorrow, but you have a vision. You're like, I'm moving towards that. I'm training towards that. I'm being intentional for that. My conversation has to change before the moment. I shared a few weeks ago about the term we talk about being engaged. Like, oh, we got engaged. Really? Okay. You got engaged. But engagement that's action. Engagement means interaction. So if you are engaged, once you're in a relationship and once you're moving towards it, you don't have to wait for a person to show up in order for you to start engaging with them. I just told you right now, like, hey, I can start praying for the woman in my life or the woman to show up. I can pray for her right now. I can start thinking about her right now. I can start preparing for her right now. I'm engaged with her right now. She don't even know. She's like, she don't know. I'm engaged with her. I'm looking for I can find a virtuous woman whose price is far above rubies. God, give me eyes to see. Give me eyes to see this virtuous woman who has value, that is highly valued. Give me eyes to see and understand her value. Like I can stay there for like a long time. Let me be how Lord, teach me how to be a man that seeks after virtue. How do I protect virtue? Now, if I go through that and I say, okay, let me find a virtuous woman, then my next question is, how do I love a virtuous woman? Lord, teach me how to be patient with a virtuous woman. Teach me how to be kind with a virtuous woman. Teach me how to be, keeping no records of wrong with a virtuous woman. It didn't say she's going to be a woman that doesn't ever get on my nerves. It says she's virtuous. So we're going to still have some conflict, but I need to understand, even when we're having conflict, that she's a virtuous woman whose value is far above rubies. So I need to understand how to process that. I need to engage with that now. By the time I talk to her and present a ring and all that, girl, please, I've been engaged with you for a long time. This didn't just happen, right? We can think differently, but that's not boyfriend girlfriend mindset. Right? This is kingdom. What you've heard me talk about. This is kingdom mindset. Like what's kingdom? Kingdom, a king's domain. Who's the king? The Lord says in the Bible that he is the King of kings and the Lord of lords. So in really what's being said is that I'm a king over other kings. And so a king's domain is the place where the king operates. And so for me, I'm saying, no, I want the king of all kings to operate in the relationships that I have. So therefore, teach me how to be a king like you so that your kingdom will come and your will be done on the earth the same way it is in heaven. That's the whole, you've probably heard it like the Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Well, how does that actually happen? That actually happens when kings on the earth, male and female kings on the earth, operate and understand the king's way of operating in their domains. We all have domains. We have relationship domains. We have a physical domain, a body. Our body is a domain. We have professional domains. We have community domains. We have lots of different domains. How we operate in those domains is, whether or not it's kingdom or not. Like, are you operating as a king? Are you operating as the king in your domain or not? See, again, go back to Genesis. You were made image likeness. Why? To operate as God in the domains that you've been given. There's the Bible. He was like, I didn't really create you to crush you about sin. No, I created you to be like me. And, like religious systems get you always thinking about being sinful. You're like, I didn't really want you focusing on that. If you focus on being like me, it's going to take care of that by default. So this is how we engage, right? You get engaged now. You don't have to wait. The more you engage, it makes it easy. You start filtering out the room. Remember, I said before, your standards your standards will go before you, and it will start weeding out those that don't even belong in your space. I say what I say because I don't even want certain people. I don't even want you in my DMs. I don't even want the message. I'm like, let me just go ahead and say it. So just get it out the way. I want somebody to say, no, nope, that ain't. Nope, I don't want that. I'm not trying to live like that. Good. It saves me from reading an unnecessary message. Like, sometimes you got to let the dogs out and go barking before you. That's what the standards do. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to be your boyfriend. If I'm going to have a relationship, I'm in it to get married. But I've been saying this since I was in 4th grade. I'm like, I want to get married and have 4 kids. So I don't got to play the boyfriend game. Same for you, though. And you might be thinking like, well, how am I going to ever meet anybody and all that stuff? Because somebody, for all that you're putting in, for all that effort, for all that focus, for all that intentionality, what it's going to do is it's going to help you see clearly. It's going to give you a clear view. This doing this kind of stuff, being intentional, helps you to be more clear with your vision. So you don't have to waste time being distracted. Sometimes we'll miss the one that is for us because there are too many different things that we're looking around, and there's so many options. No, you don't want that. How did Eve know that Adam was her guy? He was the only one there. Bingo. That was it. When you clear the room, it makes it easy to see. Right? Like, we're under this impression like that more is better. It is not. I don't. No, you don't need so much. You don't need. That's distraction. Distraction wide. Wide is the path to distraction. Narrow is the way to life. So when you can narrow in your focus and you're like, oh no, right there. That's it right there. That's the one right there. Again, words. That's the one. Not that's the sum. No, that's the one. That's the one I was looking for. Different. Get to operate different. So, this time when you are an exclusive, right? When you are, and let me just say this, being an exclusive does not stop. Once you realize that you're an exclusive, you never stop being an exclusive. You can get married and you're still an exclusive because now you've excluded everybody except for the one that you're married to. And so when you're married, even more so, you're an exclusive. So now you're focused. And so you might be thinking, all right, so sorry, I understand there's this whole process and I'm eliminating and all this. Like, how do I go through the journey and wait and all that stuff? Well, listen, it's like training. Okay. Very much like training. It's not about, I'm just trying to rush to the result. No, you learn how to love the journey. And this is why, for me, wellness is such a huge part of relationships. Because when you train I'm not saying when you go exercise sometimes. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you train. See, training is different than just exercising. Training is like, oh no, I have a focus. I'm preparing. I'm doing something intentionally for something. You can exercise just lots of different ways, right? Like it's good. It's better than nothing. But if you decide that you're going to train because you want to hit a certain goal, then you understand there's going to be a process. So what you start to do is stop focusing so much on the end result. Stop focusing on getting the guy. Stop focusing on getting the girl. Focus on the journey. Focus on what you are becoming in this process. Because guess what? However long you are waiting, you should be becoming a greater gift. See, like if I show up today, I'm a good gift. I'm like, all right, I'm a good gift. But if I show up tomorrow, I'm going to be an even better gift. Because every day I'm going to grow. Every day I'm committed to growing. And if I show up a year from now, oh, I'm going to be a year's worth of a better gift. And so I'll be excited about the gift that I am. See, sometimes people, we struggle with enduring the wait, but we don't really realize how unprepared we are. Like the wait for many people is a blessing because you got some mess that you still need to handle. Still got some stuff in your closet. You still have some unresolved issues. You still have some communication skills you need to develop, right? Like there are things you still have a book that you need to write, a business that you need to launch. You still have some adventures that you need to take. Like some people, you're like, oh, I'm tired of waiting. Well, when was the last time you went on a date with yourself? Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I feel awkward going out. You're not ready because you still haven't figured out how to value yourself yet. You still feel awkward by yourself. Oh no, you're not ready. No, you're not ready. No. There need to be some qualifications before you try to bring somebody into your world. Like, when was the last time you went on vacation by your lonesome? You need to take a solo adventure. Matter of fact, that's going to be a part of that. You're going to hear that more. Like solo adventure, you need to take one. Like just you, solo, no phone, no checking in, no texting, no, just you. Some of us struggle to put our phone down for 20 minutes. It's like you got, like you're addicted, right? Well, there's an addiction to it. Can't even put it down. So how, if you can't put your phone down for 20 minutes to love on yourself, how do you think you're going to be prepared when somebody else shows up in your life and they're like, babe, can we have some quality time? You're like, I would, but I'm scrolling. Have somebody all frustrated. Like, but quality time, that's my love language. Okay. Can't even put it down. No, you need to practice. You're like, babe, no, I've been engaged with you for so long. I practiced. I knew we were going to have quality time. So I would practice every day putting my phone down because I wanted to be ready to have my phone down when you were here. Like, we got to think strategically. Strategic. All right. I just had a thought just now. I'm like, I probably need to go back to massage therapy school and do some continuing ed classes just to get my skills working, right? To learn a new technique or something. Why? Preparing. My hands feel a little rough, right? Like, okay, I need to make sure I'm staying on top of my hands. I don't need to be, getting to a point where I'm giving a massage and my hands is all beat because I haven't been taking care of them. Right? When you start thinking about being a great gift, changes you. So go through, here's your action. Go through Proverbs 31. Bible believer, non-Bible believer. I'm not even worried about that. Just go through it anyway. You can get it for free online. Just look up Proverbs 31 and read it. Just slowly read it. It's not deep, nothing complex. Just read it and start considering the conversation that you could have if you said, yeah, I would want to be that kind of person. Or I would like to be that kind of person that meets the standard to have this kind of person. That's my prayer. I'm like, one day I sat down and I wrote it all out, all this different. I was just going detail by detail, all these things that the Proverbs 31, that the woman in Proverbs 31 is described as, and how she's described. And I was writing it all down. And then I was just looking for ways to say, okay, if she is this, then what do I need to be? Because I want to pray to be that. 'Cause I don't need her frustrated. She's doing her thing. She's rocking and rolling. So wait, you know. So someone said they have calluses from lifting. So what I do, I'm rubbing my hands because I feel them from the gym too. But what I do, just as a side note, is I'll get an emery board and I'll like just rub them down, right? So they don't, my hands will still stay a little soft. And I use olive oil on my skin with I use only cooking oil on my skin anyway. As a massage therapist, just a little health tip, cosmetic thing. I don't put anything on my skin that I wouldn't put in my mouth, except for deodorant. But like what I put on my skin, olive oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, like I mix it all, sunflower oil, safflower oil. I put that stuff on my skin. All good. Got the glow. So that's just, and butters and the cocoa butters and the butters. Yep, coconut oil, all that good stuff. So if you can eat it, you can apply it. So just a little something, something. All right. So hopefully tonight has been an encouragement to you that you could, think from a different perspective and see the opportunities to work on your relationship, to enhance your relationship, to engage with your relationship without even needing that person in your face. You don't even need it. There are so many things that you can do to work yourself to a new level and to a next level in your life. And I encourage you to check out that description in Proverbs 31. And here's something else in Proverbs 31. Before it even talks about the woman, it talks about a man before that. So it's pretty interesting to look at. It's something that you can check out there and really dissect it. So that'll be that. Like I said yesterday, there's some good things that are going to be happening in February, launching with classes and training where we'll start doing deeper dives beyond the lives and having the Zoom connections and going live. So I want to have that up and ready, rock and roll tomorrow, the next day, pretty soon here, so that we're going to the next level, right? For those that know that they're serious about wanting to develop and focus on building and establishing healthy relationships. The thing about what we do is that when you understand the principles of building healthy relationships, you can apply them anywhere. I most often talk about them more in a romantic sense, but trust me, these are the keys to business. It's the key to your health. It's the key to family life. These are the keys. Like the principles don't change. The applications do. The principles stay the same. And so once we get the principles, you can just apply it. You can apply them anywhere. The principles of communication, you can apply them anywhere. The principles of attraction, you can apply them anywhere. And it is the key to everything we do, because everything, when we're interacting with people, everything boils down to relationship. Can you cultivate it? Can you create it? Can you sustain it? Can you nurture it? Can you strengthen it? Can you grow it? Can you protect it? All this stuff. They're the same. Can you protect your customers? Can you serve your customers? Can you attract your customers? Can you protect your children? Can you communicate with your children? Right? Like everywhere you go, same things. So let me pray for you and us so that we can just seal the deal right now. Father, thank you for this day and the wonderful opportunities and the blessings that you have bestowed upon us to rejoice in this day, to be glad in this day, to get together in this day, and to share moments of time in this day so that we could be built up in our faith. We could build our relationships. We can build our mindset. We can build our hope. We can build our vision. Thank you for these moments, for they are a gift to us. Thank you for your presence and your insight and your instruction. Thank you for your love that guides us to not only live, but have life more abundantly. Thank you for the image and likeness that you have gifted to us, and how, when we understand image, we can operate according to it. Thank you for helping us to realize that we are not lesser. We are not some leftover. We are not deficient. No, we have been made to look and operate in a position of royalty and authority. And so I pray tonight that someone who may have struggled with their image and their identity would be encouraged that they have been given authority to operate in this life, that they are not meant to just be subject to whatever comes their way and to be someone that is just stepped all over and walked all over and disrespected and dishonored. No. Let someone tonight who has struggled be free from that idea. Let them see themselves as a wonderful gift holding treasure who has a price that is far above rubies. Let them know that they are highly valuable. Let them embrace that and own that and keep that and nurture that and cultivate that even in their own thinking. Let it be something that they repeat, if nothing else, that they have a price that is high above rubies, far above it. Let them see worth and value when they look at themselves and when they hear themselves and as they operate in life. Let no one rob that from them. I pray that you would even encamp angels about them to keep them from the voices and the interactions that in this tender moment they would try to steal this seed of life and hope. I just pray that you would keep the opposition at bay, that the seed could find good soil, that it could be protected, that it could start to grow and become strong and healthy. I pray for the relationships of each and every person that is here right now. I pray that we would become active and focused and intentional in our efforts to grow and build and establish healthy relationships. I pray for the marriages that are to come. I pray that they would be healthy and strong and prosperous. I pray for the decision makings that are the decisions that will be made. I pray for the standards that are being set. I pray that we go to the next level and elevate those that are around us. And in advance, I thank you for honoring these prayers. And I pray that we would honor and thank you even as the blessings flow and as we realize them. We count it as done, and we appreciate you for doing it. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night. If you haven't done so today, go check out Proverbs 31. It's a good read. It'll be like 3-4 minutes. You got this. Check it out. Look at it. Help it. Let it grow. Help it grow you. All right. Whatever, male, female, you can read it from both perspectives and grow from it. But faith comes by hearing by the word. And so when you take in life grows. It's a pretty wonderful experience. I love you much. I'm B.A. Shepherd, 2 P's, A-R-D, reminding you to be a shepherd. The world has enough sheep. Love you much. Good night. See ya.